In this video, I will show you how to blend two texture or two value using a mask, using, of course, the shader graph. So we will do this kind of shader. It's a very simple example, but it helps you to understand a little bit more the shader graph. So we will create a new shader. So I right click, create shader graph, HDRP lead shader graph, and I'm going to call him SH blend. Okay, so now we have the shader, but we need a material that I will be able to modify. So I right click, create material, and I call it mat blend. Okay, my material is created. I will assign it to the object, and now let's open the shader. Okay, so you know already this shader graph. So here I'm going to work on the color first. You saw what I have is something like gold. So I'm going to choose uh, these values 50, 50. Usually I'm around 80. Okay, perhaps a bit darker. Yeah. Next one, we will put the metallic. So usually it's a high value for gold, and smoothness. So that it depends of how the gold is like polished. So here I will put 0.7. Okay. So we have this gold. Now what I will do, I will use a mask. Okay. Or a texture, black and white texture, to modify the smoothness. You see, to have these dots here. So for that I will drag and drop this dot near the smoothness, and I will create a texture. So textures, there are a lot of different texture. If you want to optimize, you have to pick exactly the one that you need. We will make it simple. Just select the sample texture 2D, which has RGB and A channel. Okay, so here we have the node. Now we need to load the texture, and in this whole folder there is a texture called, if I remember, circle. Yeah. So we have the circle, and you see it's used by the smoothness. So it means when it's black there is zero smoothness, so the object is matte, and when it's white there is 100% smoothness, the object is very reflective. Okay, so you can try perhaps on a cube. We will understand a bit better what's happening. Okay, here as you can see I have small dots here, only one. So what I can do is duplicate this dot using the tiling. So I'm going to move this point here, drag and drop it here, and here, if you remember, there is a node tiling. Tiling, we can change the U and the V. Okay, so here that's good. You can see the evolution of your image from here to here, and of course you see the final result. For the final result, I could use, if you remember, I can select an object, this one, and see the result on this object. So as you can see, my dot here were smaller, so perhaps I will put 15 by 15. Okay, so we have almost the same result. So now it's not visible in the scene because I have to save it, and now if I watch it, it works. Okay, but in my example the two parts are shiny. They don't have the same shininess, but they are both shiny. Here the problem is one is 100% shiny, the other 0%. So I would like to adjust these values without working on my texture. So what I will do, I will use a blend. So it means this texture will not give anymore the values, but it will be just used as a mask. So for that I will right click, create a node, and I will use a blend node. Okay, so this blend node, I will give him two values. So the two smoothness that I would like, 0, or I could put 0 to start, or 0.2, and the other pretty high, 0.8. And now I just need to connect this mask to the opacity. Then I select the output and put it here in the smoothness. Okay, so now you see we have no black area, so it means nothing will be matte. Okay, there is something super important that personally I forget very often. This is here the mode. You have to use overwrite. In this case, we need to use overwrite. If you don't do that, you will not have the same result that me. Okay, so let's wait that he is compiling actually the shader to make a shader that he will be able to display later in real time. Okay, so it looks better. I save, I check the result. Yeah, both are shiny with a big difference, of course. So I could readjust. Perhaps this one can put 0.5. Save. I check my scene. Yeah, it works. So the thing is, if you're happy with that, okay, your job is finished. But perhaps you will need to readjust these values, or perhaps you will have different objects with the same shader, and for each of them you would like to readjust the opacity, or why not change the texture. So in this case, if you remember, there is this part called the blackboard. So here we can write, add some parameter, and this parameter will be available here in the inspector. Okay, so for example, first parameter could be the tiling, or first parameter could be the smoothness. Okay, so here I will create a float, smoothness. So I will put smoothness 1. This is the first smoothness that we will enter. So this parameter, I will click on Graph Inspector, and here I will change what is this value. It will be a slider between 0 and 1, and by default it will be 0.4. Okay, I create another smoothness, smoothness 2, and this one same slider, and default value will not be 0.4. I will give another value like 0.6. Okay, what else we would like to change in the inspector? The tiling. So here it's a vector 2. Two values for my vector. Okay, it's u and v. So it will be tiling. So tiling, here I will say it's a single. By default I need at least one, otherwise it will not display the texture because it will have 0 UVs. What else? The other parameters that I changed was the metallic. So here, okay, I will put a capital like for the other. Metallic, usually it's always a smooth float, and the value it's between 0 and 1, and it's a slider. So I will put 0.5. Okay, color is fine, I don't need to change it, but you could add a node point color and put it here. Okay, so now if I save it, I should see in the inspector these 3 or 4 values. Okay, so they are here: expose property, smoothness, tiling, metallic. I could change the order. I think I can if I do that. Okay, metallic. I will respect the same order that the classic shader. Let's see if it changes the order. Yes. But the problem is if I change them here, nothing change in my scene. So the reason is I created these values. I gave names, but I didn't say how I will use it in my shader. Okay, so here I just need to connect them. So tiling, I will move it here, and I will connect it to the tiling 2 with 2 values. Smoothness 1, I will move it here and move it connected to the base. Smoothness 2, I will connect it to the blend. And metallic, I will connect it to, of course, metallic. I save. Now we have our object. Doesn't look very clear because the values are very close between the two smoothness. So what I will do, I will adjust the smoothness to see more the difference. Okay, change the tiling. So here let's give 20 by 20. I think it's what I had in my first shader. Metallic, because it's gold, good to have high value. And here I will adjust the values. Yeah, so that's all. So you see it's pretty simple. So it's always up to you if you want or not to see this parameter in the inspector. You don't need to do that, okay? It's just in case if you want to modify. Otherwise, here you have the node, and you see if you know how to do this kind of shader graph in Maya or any other software, it's exactly the same principle. You will just need to explore a bit all the nodes that you can create. So we will see a little bit more this semester. Okay, thank you.